We also have Nalini joining us, who is very closely tracking court as Supreme Court has finally agreed to hear urgently the matter. Nalini, do tell us a little more on the special bench that is likely to hear this matter. What's expected to pan out? Do you believe, is there a buzz that Kejriwal could get relief from prolonged ED arrest?
Well, Nabila, we can't speculate on what the Supreme Court will do as of now, but it's going to be a special bench headed by Justice Sanjeev Khanna, who is the second senior most judge in the Supreme Court, who is also set to take over as the Chief Justice of India once the current Chief Justice, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, retires. And the other judges in the bench are Justice Bela M. Trivedi and Justice M.M. Sundaresh. All of these three judges, the special bench has also been hearing K. Kavita's case against her arrest in the same excise policy case against the Enforcement Directorate. Just today in the morning, a hearing on that had happened where Senior Advocate Kapil Sibal had appeared, and there was no relief that has come in for K. Kavita. But of course, we can't speculate because each of these cases is going to be different. At least that's what the ED kept saying yesterday before the High Court, because when Arvind Kejriwal was trying to rely on the past precedents where no coercive action has been ordered, the ED said that each case needs to be looked in its own specific facts and its own specific circumstances, and the facts of one case cannot be applied on the other. So we are going to assume that there will be no bearing of K. Kavita's case on Arvind Kejriwal's case, and both of them will be considered independently by the bench. And at the same time, Arvind Kejriwal is also the sitting Chief Minister of the national capital. So as to whether or not that's going to play any role in the Supreme Court making its decision against the arrest is something that we have to wait and watch out for. All of that will be dependent, of course, on the kind of arguments that Arvind Kejriwal's team is able to make out before the Supreme Court. It is a small win for them that the Supreme Court has allowed an urgent hearing, because the Supreme Court could have simply told them to go and approach trial court for bail if he is already under arrest. But the fact that the Supreme Court has agreed to constitute a bench urgently and hear the case prima facie shows that the Supreme Court might think that there is a sense of urgency in the matter, and that probably has something to do with the fact that Arvind Kejriwal is a sitting Chief Minister. But as to whether or not there will be any orders passed in his favour is something that completely depends on not only what Arvind Kejriwal's lawyers argue, but also what kind of a case ED puts out. Because remember, Nabila, very important to put into context, yesterday the High Court had specifically asked the Enforcement Directorate to bring forth the evidence that they have against Arvind Kejriwal. All of that evidence in one file was presented to the High Court. The High Court judges have gone through that evidence in their chamber, after which they specifically came out with the order denying any interim relief to Arvind Kejriwal. So all of that evidence is already ready with the ED to produce before a court if required. So in case ED comes out all guns blaring, you can expect them to produce the same kind of evidence before the Supreme Court as well, try and convince them to not give any relief to Arvind Kejriwal, and it totally depends on what kind of evidence they have, which will determine as to whether or not Arvind Kejriwal can hope to get out of ED custody even before the court issues any order regarding how many days custody he should be sent for.
Nalini, stay with us. We also have Amit Bharadwaj, who's right outside Arvind Kejriwal's residence. Amit, late night searches at Arvind Kejriwal's residence. We believe even after he was taken away by some of the officials of the Enforcement Directorate, searches continued. And there's some scoop that they may have found some documents related to the Aam Aadmi Party netas, including the Chief Minister himself, snooping around on ED investigation into the same matter linked to him. As protests continue outside Kejriwal's residence, give us more on AAP leaders. How do they want to take this fight forward?
Nabila, right now I'm at ITO Road, where the protest of Aam Aadmi Party is happening for the past 2 hours. And what we are seeing is that buses of this sort are being called in by Delhi police, because the protesters are coming here in small batches and they are getting detained by Delhi police. Even right now, as we speak, you can see as to how these protesters are being, asked to vacate the ITO Road, because at this very point, at different point in time, different ministers, AAP MLAs, AAP senior leaders joined the protest and they got detained as well. Punjab Minister Harjot Bahs was picked up from here. He has been detained. After that, Atishi got detained. And that series is not stopping. It's AAP Karyakartas and Delhi police in confrontation out here. Delhi police asking them to vacate the area, otherwise they will be detained like the other leaders as well. And constantly for the past 2 hours, several buses are being called by Delhi police, and AAP workers are being put inside those buses and they are being taken away. This particular stretch, which is a very important stretch of the national capital as far as traffic movement is concerned, the AAP workers had formed a human chain in protesting against Arvind Kejriwal's arrest, and after that they were picked up by Delhi police as well. So as far as the Deen Dayal Upadhyay Marg is concerned, the barricades have started right from ITO itself. There are multiple layers of barricades. We will give you those visuals as well as to what kind of preparation has been done by Delhi police to ensure that the protesters are not able to gather in big number, because the Aam Aadmi Party was all up in arms to gherao the BJP's national headquarters. And what has happened right now is that usually this road is open when the protests happen. The protesters are allowed to move towards, when it's a BJP protest, they are allowed to move towards the Andhra school, and then the barricades stop them. When it's an Aam Aadmi Party protest, the AAP workers are usually allowed to move to till the Rouse Avenue court distance. But today the barricades have been put up at the ITO itself, meaning that Deen Dayal Upadhyay Marg is completely out of bounds for the Aam Aadmi Party workers, the leaders, the Karyakartas, as well as the regular commuters. So you cannot go to the Connaught Place, New Delhi railway station, civic center, or any other establishment located near the Connaught Place. Through the Deen Dayal Upadhyay Marg, you will have to take a longer detour to reach there. But the situation on the ground is such that whenever the protesters gather here, even in small numbers, they are being picked up one after other by the Delhi police. That's what is happening out here.
Okay.